Destiny just another wrongly judged video game, or a misjudged video game? You decide right here on Kickshaw Brothers Reviews. Hello fellow gamers, it's your boy Zero Inc. and I'm back with another Kickshaw Brothers review. Now today we're going to be looking at Destiny, okay? Destiny has come under a lot of scrutiny because a lot of people feel that they were lied to, a lot of people feel they didn't get what they wanted, a lot of people, gave very questionable reviews based on what I think to be a lot of biased opinion, but you can be the judge after I lay it all out for you. Now, Bungie started back in 1990 with NOP on the Mac OS, a GNOP, NOP, and then they also came out with Operation Desert Storm, until finally they came out with the franchise that they're best known for, Halo. Okay, they also came out with a lot of different games for Microsoft Windows. Tons of different games for Microsoft Windows. So they've been around for a good 25 years. So they know what they're doing. They're known for their seamless gameplay. They're known for their really good storytelling. They're known for their real good graphics. And of course, that all goes with the Halo franchise, which was an amazing franchise. Now, Destiny for me was not as underwhelming as everybody says. Okay? It really wasn't. Let's start off with gameplay. Now, seamless transitions. Multiplayer is amazing. There's no issues with the gameplay at all, period. You will not have any issues with the gameplay. You might get kicked from lobbies here and there, but not to where it's gonna cause you a problem, especially not lately. So, the gameplay in this game, I have to give a 10 out of 10. Bungie is best known for gameplay, and they deliver here. As far as graphics are concerned, I believe the graphics were held back by being on all three systems, or all four systems, sorry. Okay, being on current gen and last gen really affected how the graphics were presented, because you can only push PS3 and 360 so far. They wanted the same gameplay through all the consoles, and they pretty much achieved that. It's beautiful. You see big ships fly in when you're in the middle of a battle. You see the Earth turning, if you look up at the Earth turning when you're on the moon. In Venus, they have these like muddy puddles and great shrubbery. It's just a beautiful, beautiful game. It's just not as pushed or as defined as it could be, I think, if it was just on current gen. So I'm going to give graphics in this game a decent 8 out of 10. Okay, they're not bad. You can't say their graphics are shitty. You can't say that there's any problems with the actual graphics. When you shoot someone in the head, their head explodes and you see stuff fly everywhere. And the enemies, they look detailed. Multiplayer is another big benefit to this game. You have 5 different game modes if you include skirmish, game-like control, which is basically capture the flag. But the kicker is that you have to capture the flags. If you don't capture the flags, your kills don't really matter, which is why a lot of Call of Duty guys gave it a questionable review, because a lot of them don't work as a team, except the competitive players. If you don't work as a team in control, you will not win. Team Deathmatch is also good. There's nothing really inspired here. It's the same basic multiplayer modes, but you also have 10 multiplayer maps. So you also have a wide variety of maps, which there is more to come. First expansion is in December. So multiplayer gets another 10 out of 10. I believe that the multiplayer in this is seamless. You don't get kicked out of matches, at least on the PlayStation 4 version. On the Xbox Live version, I don't know. I've rarely been kicked. It's not as unbalanced as everyone says, okay? It really isn't. Once you get used to it, once you get your weapons and everything else like that, it's not unbalanced at all, really. The new Vex gun, yes, is unbalanced, but that's probably the only gun in the entire game that's unbalanced. So I don't see why everyone's up in arms about the unbalanced multiplayer. Not only that, I don't understand why more gamers can't understand. We grew up with games that were unbalanced all the time and we found a way around it, so why is it that this game should be any different? It's very slow, it's very casual, it's not fast-paced. It's not moving. If you want fast-paced, if you want moving all the time, multiplayer does that for you. But as far as fun factor goes, and a lot of people won't admit this, but they still play Destiny. I still have tons of people on my friends list that are playing Destiny right now. Yeah, I haven't lost any of my friends that aren't jumping in at least to do the daily quests. With daily quests and nightfalls and all the multiplayer maps and the multiplayer modes and the campaign that spans over 4 planets, you're gonna find something you want to do in this game. So I don't see why everyone's saying that this game was not fun. A lot of people are still playing the game. Yes, grinding's a little suspect, but at the end of the day, I actually like that. You're gonna find something that you enjoy in this game. And you're going to keep playing it because of the MMO qualities that are in it. You don't want to fall behind. So I give fun factor in this a 10 out of 10. Now, content. If you're comparing this game to like a Guild Wars or Smite or League of Legends, then yeah, the MMO qualities seem quite nil, okay? For what they put out with Destiny, I do believe there is a lot of content. You know, there is. Is it as much as like an MMO should be? I believe there should have been a little more, but I can't really knock them for what they did put out. You got 5 multiplayer modes. You've got 8 to 10 multiplayer maps. You got 4 planets that span across the campaign, and then you include the reef. You have ships, you have a gunsmith, you have 10 different guns. Though the attack power and impact and everything doesn't seem to change all that much, you still have your choice of a lot of different weapons. Legendary weapons, you have exotic weapons, you have armor, you have legendary armor, you have exotic armor, you have different cloaks and stuff that you can find when you're out there doing quests. You have 4 or 5 different quests that you can do when you're doing patrol missions. And on each map, you have 6 to 10 missions to do, including strike missions. You have a strike playlist. And though once you get all through all of this, it's just repetitive grinding, getting through all of it is still gonna take you 10 to 20 hours to get through everything, absolutely everything, and get all your equipment and everything else, and even longer than that. So the content in this is still pretty vast for Bungie's first attempt. So at its core, it still has a lot of content, so I'm giving the content in this an above average 7 out of 10. Now, storyline-wise, it's not fleshed out. It's very vague. It's very short. But it does span over 8 to 10 hours, which is still longer than a lot of the AAA titles that have come out. There's really nothing that makes you want to gravitate to the character or gravitate to what's going on, and I think this was a big missed opportunity. There are 2 or 3 main storyline cutscenes that are actually interesting. The voice acting in it, I don't think was as bad as everyone says. I'm going to give storyline in this a 4 out of 10. They really needed to give us more as far as storyline is concerned, but I'm expecting more in the expansions 1 and 2, expansion 1 coming in December. Now the length of it, okay, now length is all based on how you play. Now if you go point to point to point to point, okay, the worlds are going to seem very, very small. The worlds aren't going to seem open. You do run into a lot of invisible walls when you try to travel places, which is kind of annoying. But again, length is based on what type of gamer you are. Now, for us grinders, and for the people who are used to RPGs and MMOs and getting absolutely everything in the rarest armor and everything, the gameplay and everything will keep you busy for a good 10 to 20 hours. Point to point to point to point, only doing the main missions, only doing the main campaign. It's going to be pretty quick, okay? It's going to be pretty quick for you. It's going to be about 8 to 10 hours, which is still longer than what we've had, so I'm not going to get on them too bad, but then again, I can't give them a perfect score for it either, So I'm going to give the length of this a 7 out of 10 for it being more towards MMO players, okay? If you're an MMO player, you're probably going to enjoy this. The final score for this comes out to 56 out of 70. Now, what does that mean? That means it comes out to a solid 8.0 out of 10, okay? It's a very solid game at its core. It has a lot of problems with it, with the new bugs that have been found, with a lot of the things that they have to fix. I don't believe it's as unbalanced as everyone says. But here's the thing, okay? All you guys that are giving this game a bad review, Titanfall had half the content. And that's not saying Titanfall was a bad game. But you guys gave Titanfall an 8. Straight content, it should at least be a 7. Destiny should. This is worth a buy. It's an above average game. It might not have been what everybody wanted, but the game does at its core have a lot of fantastic points to it. You may not like grinding. People like me are going to love the grinding in it. Items that you can get. I still haven't seen the cape that I use all that often. I think I've seen it like once or twice, which is awesome. You have shaders. You have a lot of ways to customize your character. So for the people who say that your character looks no different from the start, it's crazy. Tell me this character doesn't look different from the start character. It absolutely does. Okay, if you're willing to put the time and effort and energy into it. I believe Destiny was misrepresented. I believe Destiny has a lot of great points in it. I believe if you decide to turn in Destiny, then you probably aren't going to pick it back up. Because you're going to fall so far behind. If you wait to buy this game, you are going to fall way behind. And I know one of the other big things is that it's repetitive. But here's the thing. Any game you've ever played in life is repetitive. It's funny how people don't bring up the repetitiveness until they want to give a worse score to a game. Okay? You have a lot of reviewers that are jumping on the bandwagon because it's what you guys want to hear. This game is not a bad game at all. It's an above average game, actually, and everyone should go out and get it. This has been Kickshaw Brothers Reviews, and I will see you guys next time.